Two dudes watch cartoons. Two dudes watch cartoons. Two dudes watch cartoons. Two dudes watch cartoons. Yeah.
Welcome back to Two Dudes Watch Cartoons, the podcast where two dudes, that's us, watch cartoons. My name is Evan.
And my name is Alex. And today we're taking it to a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away with our good buddy from here on Earth, Ashton. Our good buddy from college. Ashton is back. He is our local Star Wars expert, and we really need an expert for today's coverage because I got some opinions that I'm ready to share with you guys today. We're covering season 2 of Star Wars Visions on Disney Plus. Ashton, though, thank you for being here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, brother. Thanks for having me. Thank you both. Glad and honored to be your resident Star Wars nerd. So Let's dig into it.
Oh, I'm excited. Well, kind of. I'm excited to hear what you guys think.
Yeah.
Now, let's give a recap. I didn't listen to our podcast from last year, but if I remember, we were all very bullish on this idea. Ooh, we were all excited for this. Am I correct in thinking that last year we were all very high?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? And we can get into this, of course, but the stakes were higher. I think this is the first time they're doing this, and we also even a year ago there was obviously more Star Wars content, but there wasn't as much then as there is now. Like now there's never not new Star Wars content, for better or for worse, mostly worse. Now it's just like, all right, season 2 of Star Wars Visions. Let's do it, right?
Yeah.
I think you actually maybe hit on something that I didn't realize, but like just sort of the environment that season 2 has been released in versus season 1. The stakes were higher. There was a lot on the line for Star Wars Visions.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I like it. Evan, last year, give me your overall opinions.
I remember having a pretty positive impression of Star Wars Visions. I'm trying to think. I haven't gone back and watched any of it, but trying to recall just like a quick favorite. I mean, it started off strong with the Ronin one.
Yes.
Maybe the low point was
The Rock Band.
That was cute, but maybe
We
the
were
floppy
divided
bunny
on it, if
ones.
I remember. Yeah.
We were. I thought
So-
Brizard thought I was gonna love it, and I thought it was like the stupidest.
I did. I was like, Ashton's gonna love this, but okay. So I guess this is just like the longest setup in the world for me to say. I didn't really enjoy season 2. I thought majority of these episodes, I don't know, I didn't need them. Like this season, I think also has like a totally different feel from season 1, which is not a bad thing. I'm not faulting it for that, but season 1 reminded me of like anime. Like you know what I mean? This was just all sorts of different animation, but I think the stories were also we can get into it because there are some highs. I think the highs are super high, but there was some valleys of lows. So I'm really excited to get your opinions, and I'm hoping maybe you guys can change my opinion on some of these because I think I maybe have some hot takes coming in here on these episodes.
Ooh, I love hot takes. Let's do it. Are we doing episode by episode?
Yeah, I'm thinking that's the best way to do this.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's start at the beginning. This was something I texted our good friend Tommy while I was watching it, and I was like, "Has Star Wars Visions, has the duel, the very first episode, was that the peak, and it's all just kind of been downhill since?"
Kind of.
I'm genuinely wondering because like there were parts of this I really enjoyed, and there were parts that reminded me like why Star Wars Visions is like important as a series. But man, there was some of them that I was like, "Am I a hater? Am I going full-blown Star Wars hater?"
I asked myself the same question. I was like, wow, this did nothing for me the second time watching it. And I'm like, am I just an asshole? I was like, but
Literally.
I mean, I don't know.
I
don't know.
I think so. Season 1, you got a little more of the samurai anime influences. You got
Classic.
So the duel is the first one.
Yeah,
right?
it's the very
That
first
one was
episode.
really strong.
And then the
And
Rock
season
Band
1.
is episode 2. I was like, ooh, they really went full force right out the
Yeah.
gate.
Well, there's
Stark
also
contrast.
the one with the old Sith on the hill who fights the master and his Padawan. That super strong point. I think this season, to put it charitably, it felt a little more slice of life, which is another interesting thing to explore in the Star Wars universe.
I did catch, before we get into all of them, I think I caught a theme, and I want to run through this with you guys as we go through each episode. Did you guys catch a theme that all the episodes intertwine, sort of?
Was the theme painting? Because there's like
Yeah, right.
4 painting episodes.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
I don't think they followed a theme. I think okay, so let me just quickly rewind back to season 1. Evan called this out. They all kind of follow the same trope where it was a secret Jedi who reveals themselves partway through. That was season 1. This one is, I'm just a poor villager whose village is ravaged by the Empire. And
well,
honestly,
okay. I think that leans into the theme. You're getting there.
Sure,
Sorry to cut you off.
It's all right. You know, I'm going to start, I'll start my opinions with a major gripe, and it's that, you know, these people are given like all this creative freedom to pretty much write whatever the heck they wanted, which I appreciate. That's pretty cool. I guess the part that I'm let down by is the fact that everyone kind of chooses the same timeline. It's like, all right, Star Wars, we can do whatever we want. Stormtroopers.
So I agree. I actually, that is one thing, is I felt they were all in the same time period, but I wonder if maybe they were told there's a theme this season. I think, and if you look at all of these, most of them, it is about like recruiting an innocent child over to the dark side, or trying to.
Okay. That happened in a couple, yeah.
A couple?
Well,
I'm happy to go through them. Even I Am Your Mother. It's not like a dark side thing, but it's a girl giving into like her temptations of evil and bad, and like I'm telling you, I caught it about halfway through, and it's like every single episode has something to do with a child having to like almost be recruited.
Sure. This is my pushback. I think it is not so much a theme being dictated. I think it, and I sort of noticed this in season 1. It's like, because of the creative freedoms they're given, there's like it seems there's no oversight, and that's why you get like 4 episodes about painting. There's no quality
I think
control.
they were told they have to stick to this theme. I really
don't agree. I don't think that was the case. I really think what Evan just described is exactly what happened.
It's just like
no, oh my gosh.
You know, it goes back to all the shows, like the other shows, like, you know, so Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and now the now Ahsoka series, and everyone's just kind of like, oh, look how this is intertwined with this, and I'm like, it's actually just lazy writing. Like, they're not actually taking a note of that, just so you know. But
I think
sorry,
I think everyone just turned in their scripts and they're like,
everyone.
oh shit, it's too late.
You don't think they would have them
Change
rewrite
any
it?
of
No, there's no.
I just do not.
Because that's the whole shtick with Visions is that they can do whatever they want.
But there's no way they would get 9 stories that have like the same central theme, and they're just like, well, oops. Like, oops, I guess.
It seems like it's happened 2
some of them
seasons in a row.
Well, I guess. Okay. But maybe each season has a theme. Maybe that's what it is. Let's look at each episode with this lens, and I think you guys will see what I'm talking about a little more. Let's start with episode 1. It's called Sith. First off, bad name for terrible name for an episode.
It's pretty bad.
I did think also that just going through Wikipedia, like the season 1 titles were better. Not that I'm like, judging a book by its cover, but like Sith, that's bad. And I was expecting something like epic.
Bad guy.
Not this fucking painting for half of my 12 minutes. I'm sorry. Like, what a horrible note to start on, if I'm being honest. I think it set the tone for the season, not in a great way.
Yeah, again, this is where it feels maybe a little slice of life. It starts off a little slow paced. It doesn't start off as strong as season 1. I think the animation for this one is beautiful. It's done super well. I think this is super, super light on like plot.
Story. I'm reading the Wikipedia version of it right now, and I feel
Wait,
like
Wikipedia or Wikipedia? Wikipedia is the Star Wars fandom.
Oh, I don't know. It's not Wikipedia. It's
well,
the regular old Wikipedia. It's regular.
I don't know why
Wikipedia.
you're laughing. It's important. It's important.
I'm sorry. It's regular Wikipedia. But I feel like they are inferring so much more of this story that I didn't get. So maybe I'm dumb. Let me read you a short synopsis. Lola is a Sith apprentice who is struggling with. Her name is Lola. I know, Lola Bunny. Lola comes to the realization that she needs to embrace both the dark and the light side, and so she's questioning her Sith ways when her Sith master comes to bring her back to her. Ashton's giving it a thumbs down. But so I didn't know. I guess I missed it was master and apprentice, which is possible. They mentioned it and I just missed it. But
They did.
I didn't take her yellow orangish fucking lightsaber as her like grappling with. I just thought it was a lame Sith lightsaber.
It's because it is. It
Should have been blue.
This goes back to my whole point where it's like, oh, what does the yellow lightsaber symbolize? Nothing. They just wanted to do a yellow one. Like, it doesn't symbolize jack shit. And then I hated it when, and I know I'm skipping ahead, but
You're fine.
like she activates it as a double-bladed lightsaber. The colors are different. Like, oh, symbolism.
That's what I'm
fucking
saying is-
stupid.
That symbolism is supposed to be her like grappling with the Sith ways, and that she needs to embrace light and dark side. But like an orange, which is the closest color to red in my opinion, does not symbolize that she's like making that decision.
I will play devil's advocate here. It's
Okay.
her refraining from using the red half of her dual-sided lightsaber, which seems dumb. Like she
I
could
do
have
love
been
dual-sided
using
lightsabers, but
It
this
was
didn't
cool.
do anything for me.
Yeah, it was cool. I wish
If
she
it had
used more
popped
of it.
blue after she did the red one, that would have given me a little more like, oh.
I remember, so my favorite episode of the first season was The Ninth Jedi, and I remember thinking it was actually kind of cool when, whoever was holding the lightsaber reflected the color of whatever kind of side, they were on, and I'm like, if that was in a movie, I'd think that was silly. For this, inconsequential 15-minute,
canon
story
now,
time kind of thing, don't get me started. Canon doesn't mean anything.
Don't you dare.
Yeah, don't you get me started on what's canon and what it is, and I'm not interested in that
I
conversation.
remember from last year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just so dumb. Anyway, but for this 15-minute animated thing, I was like, all right, cool. I dig it. But for this one, it's already kind of starting me off in a place where it wasn't until halfway through the episode that she even realized you're doing anything Star Wars related. So I mean, because I'm just okay, she's waking up in this I don't know, asylum hellscape where it's like all these white walls that she paints from time to time, and the animation looks like a 2001 video game cutscene. Like you guys ever play like Dino Crisis or
liked
anything?
the
That's kind of what it
animation.
reminded me of.
I liked the animation in this one. I thought it was really good.
I did not like it. I thought it was so dumb. I thought that this Sith Master who shows up, who's supposed to be all menacing, he looked like he had fucking pigtails because of his little tentacles, his tubes he had in the back of his head.
Okay, wait. No,
That was so dumb. I'm like, here comes this big bad man in pigtails. He's coming to get you.
he was. Okay.
Dumb. Yeah, he was. He was coming to get her. And this idiot forgets her lightsaber. Oh no, it's on the floor in my garage.
That was one thing also. I was like, what kind of trained Jedi or Sith are you? You're leaving
You're
your
a
lightsaber?
terrible Sith.
Yeah.
You're a terrible Sith. If for some reason your Sith
Well, that's
master
kinda
wants to
actually
recruit you back,
That's kind of the point of the story. Is she is a terrible Sith.
Yeah. And so
Yeah,
where
that's
this feels not quite as strong as season one is like what I love in the visions, like when the episodes work, it's when they sort of imply a bigger story. And they don't have to
Yes.
like lay too much exposition on you. It's sort of just implied. And this one was so light on that. It's just this sort of like she's a runaway Sith apprentice or whatever. There's like no bigger. I mean, it's sort of there, but it's not like it doesn't make me want to watch more of this Lola's story.
That's the
agreed.
buzzword.
100%.
These should leave you being like, damn, I want a full hour and a half movie for this.
Yeah.
Heard.
And-
Yes, and most of these did not leave me that way.
Yeah.
Most of these, I was like, okay, that was
And
Nothing happened.
nothing.
I
well,
could- I
yeah,
could have
and
done
I'm
nothing
okay with
happened.
nothing happening if it's interesting. But like, there was, they somehow hit the interesting combination of like not anything happening and it just wasn't interesting. Like I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah.
We'll get into it, but weirdly enough, of the ones on the list, this is not like at the bottom of my list. This is in the middle.
Oh yeah. Should we?
It's not bottom of the barrel for me. It's
I'm saying that's a
it's
lot.
like
That's-
bottom third.
I'm trying to know
Bottom
what's to come is more so than anything.
Should
But
we
so-
call it
I
out
think this could change.
on the
Oh,
count
are
of
you
three?
ranking as we go?
No. I just to make
That's
a note.
way too much. That's way too much. Pressure.
No. We don't need to rank them. We don't need to rank them.
No. But I was gonna say on the count of three, least favorite episode of the season.
Hold on, I gotta look.
Oh, I'll play that game. That's fine. Wait, what? Call out what our least favorite episode is, or
Yeah.
call
We're
out
gonna
if-
all
if-
say it
all
at the
at
same
once.
time.
Oh wait, hold on.
Oh, I got it.
no,
Okay,
wait,
I got mine. I got mine.
Can you?
Do you need
Can you? I need to look up. I need to look
Yeah,
up.
Yeah,
the
that's
I
fine.
needed to
because
look up the
just for-
title. We can cut
Yeah,
this
let me-
out. This is not
please let me-
interesting, but
you can-
this
thank
will
you,
be
thank
fun.
you.
This game.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
hang on. Okay, all right. I almost got this.
I
Give me
think
one
we're
second,
gonna.
please.
I think we're all gonna
the
have
same.
different ones, though. I think
Oh,
Evan
really?
thinks we're all about to say the same one,
I think
but I
there's a
guarantee that's
clear-
probably not the case.
Clear done.
Almost. Oh shit. All right. So I'm looking at
Ashton's
the
like, I don't know
titles.
what. He's like, I gotta pick
Do you have
between
it?
these
I gotta
seven. Yeah.
I've got two that I just hate on the entire
Okay.
time, and I'm willing to bet that one of you guys like one of them, but I'm also willing to bet that the other
See,
one I
this
say
that's
is,
fine with me. I would rather that though. So let's
All right,
say our
so-
opinions. So
Oh,
on
are
the
we
count
saying
of
the
three.
episode number or the name of?
Oh, the
episode?
number would be way easier. Let's just do the number.
number. Okay, I'm ready. All right.
I'm gonna
Evan,
count
count
back
us
from
favorite.
three,
Least favorite. Okay.
2, 1, 7.
9.
Episode 3.
See, I told you. We all just said different things. We got 3, 7, and 9. All right. Let's go
on,
through
hang
them
on.
though. Okay.
Oh my God! No, Evan, hold on,
Evan,
Evan.
actually, Evan, yours
Seven,
was the one I
seven
was
mine.
debating.
It was that one I was debating on as well.
That was the one I
Hang
was
on.
debating
I was
between.
debating on that one. I
Okay.
fucking was so mad about that one. Okay, I can't wait to get into it. Let's wrap up this first episode nonsense. Where apparently
I mean,
a Sith Lord
we've covered it. It's
Yeah.
it's
cares
it is
about
what
his-
it is.
Let's
get to this
like to
next one
say-
though before we start hating more because I
Sure.
think this one's great. Screecher's Reach.
Screecher's Reach.
Okay.
Ashton doesn't agree right out of the gate. That's fine. What did you think? You don't like Screecher's Reach?
I didn't dislike Screecher's Reach. I actually liked I liked certain parts of it. To be honest, though, it reminded me a little bit of Gendy Tarkovsky's Primal. Just the animation.
not a
just
bad
just
thing,
little
in my
bit.
opinion.
Not
Yeah.
a bad thing. No, not a bad thing at all. But to be honest, I'm just not into the like the creepy aspect, like the last third of it, where it got like kind of
Ooh,
dark. It was like
that's
a little bit.
naive.
Really? So you guys like it? For me, it's like
Oh.
anxiety inducing, and I'm just kind of like.
That's
But-
what I'm here for, baby.
Exactly. Yeah.
These
So
people
no,
could
it wasn't
die at any moment because I don't know
it's
them
true.
at all.
Yeah. No, this exactly. It was pretty dark, and
Yeah.
but I wouldn't put this one like in my bottom 3. I would say that I appreciated aspects of it, but overall it didn't really do much for me. But I thought it was cool that and I guess I forgot to do this. Just like one giant spoiler alert for the whole episode
fine.
for everybody listening. I'm going to spoil a lot of things in the Star Wars universe.
they've
if for some
listened.
reason-
They've
Yeah, I was going to
watched.
say if you're listening and if for some reason you haven't watched Star Wars related,
Get
I don't know
outta
why you're
here.
listening to this.
Dylan.
Yeah, get out of here.
Dylan's the only one who does that. He listens to everything but watches nothing.
Jesus. All right. Anyway, no, yeah, it's cool that she shows up and you don't know if it's actually a Jedi or a Sith that like put her through
Yeah.
the test and is like,
Yes.
all right, you're past your test, come with us. And I was like, I dig that. And then like that brief moment where that she shares with her friends where she's like, you guys have to go, and one friend kind of understands, the other one's just crying, the other one's just super angry at her.
It was great.
There was a lot of little things in this episode that were like very thoughtful that I appreciated. But other than that, it didn't really it didn't do a whole lot for me. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to
To
say.
me, and this is fine if you guys don't agree. This was my favorite episode of the season. I thought this was the strongest episode from start to finish. We wake up and they're child laborers. They're working in a mine. It's bad situation, and they
Theme.
want to get out of there. And they're gonna
Theme.
go to Screecher's Reach. I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but you're following, and you get these nice moments of these kids, and you see their bond, and they're laughing, and they're like, yeah, but who would watch this idiot? Like, it's so funny, it's cute, and then, like you said, it takes such a turn to the dark and the macabre that I was just like, oh my God. Evan, before we really get into it, what did you think of the episode?
This is probably top 3. It's not my favorite episode, but this is and this is where I think
I'll take it.
the strength of the format. What episode 1 of the season doesn't do well, which is imply this larger story, is like this one does super well. You get all of the emotion built into these friendships between the characters. I end up really caring about like the betrayal.
Exactly.
It seems it like punches you in the gut. The night before she leaves, she's talking to her friend about like, and he's saying like, if you can get out of here, like do it, chase your dreams, whatever.
There's this super poignant line at this scene. He goes, this life is, he's like, there's worse lives out there. And she goes, yeah,
And
but there's
shit,
better ones.
Better lives. Yeah.
Oh, I was like,
Incredible.
damn, that hit so hard. Oh, that was good.
I remember
Yeah.
that one from yesterday.
Yeah,
from my
yeah.
second
And
watch
so-
there, that one actually stood out.
2 quick things I want to call out. So the creepy Sith at the end is voiced by Angelica Huston, who famous actress. The only thing that's coming to mind is like She's in a bunch of Wes Anderson stuff, like Royal Tenenbaums. And then the second thing is that, Ashton was saying he really liked the animation. This is animated by a studio, I think an Irish studio called Cartoon Saloon, and they have a number of they've got like 4 or 5 Oscar nominated films that were up for Best Animated. I don't think they've won any, but they have like a pretty solid record. So.
Makes sense, the accents now, but I loved it.
It does, yeah. I like that now. Man, my opinion on this one's kind of changing.
This is what we're here for. We're here to talk about the good, the bad, the indifferent.
I will say one thing, because for me it's all about, like, when it comes to like what makes Star Wars so special, it's like all the little things, and like the way all the little things kind of add up into this just awesome universe. That was created by George Lucas. Even though the guy can't write a script to save his life, he's responsible for creating, like, to me, the greatest universe of all time. So it's awesome. But so the little thing I'll call out for this one is, I actually this is my favorite title. I think Screecher's Reach is very Star Wars. I like that a lot.
And Ashton wants to make it a band name. So all right. I think
Joseph Gordon-Levitt on vocals.
Yeah. I think Ashton brought up a good point. So they run into this ghost who has a red lightsaber, so an old Sith, and she ends up taking it out. Well, I guess maybe you keep Maybe. And then this mother comes and recruits the little girl. Now, Ashton, you brought up something that was really interesting. They don't clarify if it's a Sith or a Jedi.
Or someone else entirely.
I jumped to one. I actually didn't even think that it was ambiguous until you brought it up. I'll give my reason, but what's your argument that you think it could be someone on the good side?
So let's my argument is that it wouldn't be somebody on the good side.
I think it was a Sith. I think it was a Sith that came and recruited her.
Yeah, because a Jedi wouldn't speak to you through your mind and send you on a mission to kill somebody. That's not a thing.
This girl used her rage against the machine, against the system that she's in.
That being said, if we're taking maybe a deeper dive and thinking that the screeching lady in the cave is not real and is a metaphor or a vision or something, and it's this girl striking down the dark side of her, then that was a Jedi who was giving her a test to say, seek your darkness out and face it, and then be like, you're ready, and then or is it a a notion that I've just come to like myself, like in the Star Wars universe. I hope that whatever material is coming out, like somebody explores this a little bit, but just there's other groups of Force users out there, that aren't Jedi, that aren't Sith, and it would be cool if it was just like someone like that.
I think we will get that eventually, Ashton. I think it's been talked about. Like, I don't remember the name of the group I'm thinking of, but it's during the High Republic era, and there's like a group. Okay, so I think we'll get it, because I think there's movies that are coming out based on that era at some point. So,
we can talk about that.
That is, you just blew my mind with the fact that if the ghost wasn't real, but I don't know. The lightsaber was at least real because it hurt her.
Sure, that's true. It did hurt her. You're right. Yeah.
That was fun though. That's cool, because I instantly thought it was a Sith for the sole reason when she was like, "Can I bring my friends?" And she was like, "No."
Well, a Jedi would say the same thing too. In all fairness, they'd be like, "No, leave your whole family behind."
Would a Jedi leave a child's sweatshop just up and running if they knew about it?
Probably.
I could see some Jedi leaving that, but not all. Like Obi-Wan would do something against his orders, but Mace Windu, he'd be like, "This is not my problem."
Season 2 of Obi-Wan coming.
The Council doesn't want me to do this.
The Council has told me not to act, so I shall not.
So I think officially, at least according to Wikipedia and Wikipedia, the mother character is called the Sith Mother. So I think officially it is.
Okay.
Would you look at that?
And that was my.
I like the ambiguousness, though. I'm a choose to believe that we can choose our own ending here, which makes it even fucking better.
Really appreciate the ambiguity. I also just really I appreciate the little things, and I appreciate this is something where they did it right. Where the 15 minutes we're actually having a conversation about it, because there was enough little things, there was enough of the characters for you to actually have a conversation about it, and that I will always appreciate, regardless of.
Yeah.
I think
we're sitting here having a stimulating conversation over 12 minutes. Yeah, you're so right.
Yeah.
I think what this episode does really well is it shows why the dark side would be appealing. It makes the emotional case of like why it would be easy for someone to be seduced.
Sure. Someone born in that situation is going to be angry, and someone comes along and is like, "I'll give you a better life if you embrace that anger." Like, oh yeah, I'm into that. I'm fucking angry. And as a kid, Man, kids are angry all the time and they don't know why. It's true.
Yeah.
That's kind of what Anakin went through, is he was just angry and he didn't really know why. Like a teen.
Should we move on to
Yes.
Alex's least favorite?
Yes.
Number 3, In the
No,
Stars.
it was my least favorite.
Yeah, but this is one I was debating between being.
Oh,
my
you were
least
debating
favorite.
between this one.
Okay.
I was.
Oh, okay,
I thought,
yeah, so I was debating-
I thought Evan said 3. You guys, we all said it
No,
at the
I
same
said
time.
I said
My
3. I was
least favorites
debating
were
between 3 and 7.
3 and 9 were my least favorites.
And 9's up there for me, but for me it's 3 and 7. Anyway, let's
This
do
one,
it.
9 the last
Let's get
holy
into 3.
crap.
Wait, what?
Okay. I was
Yeah,
going to say
let's-
9, the last episode. Oh,
The very last song.
Oh, it was so cute. I love that.
Well, we can get into it.
We can get into it.
Okay.
Wait your turn.
Episode 3, though. In the Stars. We're back to painting.
Yes.
we are
wait,
back
no.
to painting. I didn't even think
No.
about that. We're
Actually,
back to painting.
this started the whole thing for me. And maybe it's because I'm an older sibling, but this younger sibling here literally would have got them killed several times over.
Yeah.
First off,
Absolutely.
the kid uses the last of their water to paint something on the rock.
Sorry. You made the real laugh come out, you fucking asshole.
What? Huh? I'm sorry, this is how it started? I lost all sense of realism. No older sibling's gonna be like, fine, make your painting. What? What? Are you kidding me?
Now I have to go to this danger factory to get
Now I gotta go
water because-
infiltrate the Empire to go get water.
Yes, I have qualms with this one. This is definitely lower on my list. But what I will give it credit for is the animation. It's stop motion. It is
yes,
really,
the
really, really
animation.
well done.
Oh,
I
we
feel
did
like
that? Okay.
you don't need to be. Yeah, we do because
okay.
we are artistes here, and we know how long that takes, and it's a lot of painstaking process.
Yeah.
So,
Sure it is.
I feel like there's an asterisk on almost every single one of my complaints. Is I do like I don't think there was an animation style where I was like, this is bad. Like I thought all of the animation was like, oh, this is really good. I'm talking mostly stories here because I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy.
One thing I did not enjoy about this, so I watched this one twice. I think I watched a couple of them
How?
twice, just
Yeah,
as a refresher.
man.
You know, I watched them
Jesus.
probably a week and a half ago the first time, but this one, these are like 15-minute episodes. When I watched it the second time, the fucking painting exposition scene that gives all the backstory is like 5 minutes. It's like a solid third of this thing is
Why
just
are we painting again?
why are we painting? Like, it is poorly written, in my opinion. It's just like you can't waste a third of your thing on a catching us up on the backstory of a 15-minute fucking episode.
It also like isn't hard to pick up either, right? Where it's like, we get it. Your mom was a Jedi, all right, or something like that, basically. And again, your village got ravaged by the Empire, and you guys are surviving. And one of you might be a Force user. We're not really sure yet, but one of you is definitely going to get you both killed
It
because.
was so predictable. It was so
yeah.
predictable, and
Oh yeah,
I just.
I hated this one.
So-
you guys, I'm sorry.
This one, I was not a fan of this one at all. I mean, maybe it was just the story grapes, but so like the importance of water and the symbolism there. I get it. It's cool. You got to have it for life. And they do the Jedi thing where
environmentalist.
she ends up, her sister's the one who has the Force, even though the kid kept trying the whole time. Once again, though, I'm going to tie back to my theme. You guys are going to not like it, but so you either die a rebel with no water or you turn to the Empire who has all the resources of the land, who's depleting it all. And you got to submit and become, come to the Empire side if you want water.
But they rebel.
Yeah, but they get water without. They get water and rebel.
But it's about the choice. All of these, it's about
Okay.
like the Empire rebels, like and it's kind of like the Empire coming from a higher place, being like join our side, essentially.
It's imperialism.
It's imperialism at its finest, Evan.
One of my final thoughts on this was like at the end. So they reclaim the water source. They fuck up the factory using the Force, and all the water comes spilling out into the polluted water. And I was like, how's that helpful?
I had the same thought.
Just diluting
there were
it.
so many issues. There were so many issues, and man, I want to believe because they're alien. Maybe their water doesn't need to be as clean, but we would die from that water.
Yeah, maybe they have. I don't. Man, I got a gripe about this one here for a little bit. So the little kid's voice is nails on a damn chalkboard, and I don't know why she just won't listen. Like, who?
She won't.
I know I know at the very least Evan appreciates this. Okay, so back when The Walking Dead was actually popular, everyone was always joking. It's like, Carl's being told to go in the house, but Carl's not going in the house. And Evan would always go, Coral, get in the house. And this fucking kid, we can beat them. You can't do shit. Like, you're going to get everyone killed. You need to stay here. And she's like, no, I'm strong enough now because I have a oar.
All right, well, ready? Maybe here's a pitch. If they both die, is this a better, like, if they both just die at the end, is this a better, like, no, I'm being serious.
It's more realistic.
So
Actually, it'd
funny.
be more realistic if she reached out with the force, the kid just kept falling, and it's like, oh shit, neither of us had it.
Yeah, no, I'm being serious. Like, that could be a compelling ending that actually makes this, like, whoa, something to talk about.
Like a pro-Empire propaganda piece. They just get blasted by the walker robot at
like
the
right
end.
out of the gate.
I will say it did take a dark turn when the Imperial, who has claimed the land for themselves because that's what they do, and she's like, all right, what do we do with this kid? Throw her off the cliff.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Just get
I was
rid
like,
of
okay,
her. I think I said incinerator. Am I wrong? No, maybe I'm making that
No,
up.
she said throw her. Okay. I'm trying to think of where
I made it
incinerate
darker. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you did. Anyway, this one was dumb. Didn't like it.
Yeah,
and,
I'm so
yeah,
glad
the
we
kid was
agree,
stupid.
though. Yeah, go ahead, Evan.
On the Wikipedia, one of the officers, I imagine probably the main one, is voiced by a Scottish actress named Kate Dickie from Game of Thrones, Lysa Arryn, the one in I forget what the kingdom is, but with the weird like big baby kid.
in the Vale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the Vale.
It's
That's what it's
Catherine Stark's sister.
Yeah. Wow.
And her son is like, is her son the one that's still breastfeeding? Is that a whole plot
Yeah,
line?
at 13. Yep. Yeah.
I didn't want to say that and be wrong.
All right, I think we've exhausted. Any more gripes with
yeah.
episode 3, Ashton?
A ton,
Since
but I
this was
mean,
your
none
least
that we
favorite.
need
Yeah,
to
I was
talk
gonna
about.
say, nothing else that we really need to
Nothing
get
that we
into,
haven't
but, like,
discussed.
whatever.
It's
Yeah, nothing we haven't
infuriating to
discussed.
me. The animation was nice. Loved that. But the story, man, was trying to push me out at all costs. This is Evan. Evan, this is actually the one, if you recall, that I interrupted his vacation to tell him, like, oh,
were
I'm
so
having a tough
angry.
time at the moment.
Yeah, you were angry about it.
I was. I pushed through. We made it through all 9.
All right, so the next one is by Aardman Studios, which does Wallace and Gromit. It's called
I
Am
had
Your
a
Mother.
feeling. Okay, yes.
I called it the Chicken Run animation because I wasn't sure what it was
yes.
called.
It's exactly that. So there's like it's like a race. It's a race one.
It's a race day. Yeah.
It's fun.
Okay,
It's cute.
so this one pulls you in with what I thought was going to be the most epic name. The name I saw, I Am Your Mother, and I got flashbacks of Darth Vader. I was like, oh, this is going to be banging. And it was just this cute little field day at school with your ships. Now, this one, for not doing anything, was at least fun, in my opinion. I
Thank
had
you.
fun during this one.
Okay. I may have fallen asleep during some of this. But,
Well,
yeah.
I get that. I get that, too.
I get that. I do. Again, it's nothing happens. Like, for all the shit that I was just talking about the other ones with nothing happening, nothing happens in this one. But I honestly, there was some little things in this one that I actually thought made it kind of wholesome. Like, I was just like,
This
is,
reminded
again,
me of almost pod racing, which I enjoyed as a kid, like, greatly. I know that's going to drive Ashton up a wall, but when I was, I'm young when that came out. I was like, oh, I want to be a fucking pod racer. So this wasn't like, honestly, if they made it pod racing, I would have been like, oh yeah.
I don't know. I weirdly liked this one. It was not my favorite, but I weirdly liked it. Again, just like kind of accepting it for fun and completely inconsequential. And there were some little things, they do the mother and the daughter do the little the pilot salute that like they do in Star Wars. They do this. I saw them do that. The rebel pilot on the billboard is Wedge Antilles, which is from the original trilogy, and I was like, oh, these little call outs. I actually kind of enjoyed that.
I mean, someone's paying attention when making this. I like that.
Exactly. And it's like, I don't know.
But the evil, the family was definitely Empire coded. And I think this, once again, is about the Empire taking on the rebels. I do.
Well, that's what all these episodes are. They're all existing in that timeline.
There's a
Are
theme.
you saying the antagonist family? Like
Yeah,
the snooty
you know,
one?
the-
Okay.
The
Evil
haircut?
family. The ones
That haircut
yeah, the family
was
with,
so...
yeah, that haircut.
That haircut was so Empire. Don't even get me
Empire
started.
coded, he says.
You know exactly what I mean.
I know exactly what you
Well,
mean.
her laser that comes out is like a little miniature Death Star, isn't it?
Yes.
Or I
Yeah,
make
I
that
think
up?
yeah, I think you're right. No,
Yeah.
or one of it looks like it's like this, and then it goes.
Well, you know what the point of it is though
representation.
is that like, but it's like not meant to be taken seriously. Which is like, if a show was like trying to do that and like, look, a callback to the Death Star, I'd be like, that's fucking stupid. But for like a fun little cartoon where it's like making these cute little callbacks, like these funny jokes, I'm like, okay, that's what that's appropriate for.
Its cuteness and its sort of like lightness was so well contrasted by the name. I'm not kidding. The name got me ready. Like I buckled in, and I was like, "When's this gonna turn?" And I was like, "Oh man, it's just field day at school.
Yeah.
It's bring
just
your mom to
field
school."
It's a fun little romp, and
Yeah.
I think it is a credit to this anthology format. It's like, although it doesn't imply this bigger story and all of our gripes with the other ones, like this is what is fun about Star Wars Visions. It's like you get cute little moments like this, kind of similar to the Rock Band one.
I was gonna say this would be if the Rock Band one hit. In my opinion,
Yes.
like if it
Sure.
somehow clicked and connected, this
Yeah.
would be the Rock Band of this one. But this one, I don't know. I enjoyed, and I think maybe it's a victim of just where it falls in the order. After the last one, I was like, oh my god, can I keep watching this? And then this one came out, and I was like, oh okay, I get it. I get why we're here.
Oh man! All right,
So the next
We can
one,
move on though. Yeah, this one
we're,
is
we're on the
fine.
same. We're on the same page about that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good. Episode
Journey to
5.
the Dark Head. I'm not remembering
Alright.
this one. Let me read it.
This one
Someone
was
give me a synopsis.
One of the few. It's one of the
Painting
few actual anime ones. It's painting light.
It was
but it's
interpreting
again.
rocks.
Oh, yes. We're back on track, ladies and gentlemen. We lost the plot for a moment. This one, I really enjoyed. Once again, larger story. I want to see more of what's going on. There's stuff that we didn't see that we're seeing the conclusion of now. Really strong episode. But so it starts with a bunch of little monk children, prophesizers. I don't. What do you call these kids?
Little monks.
I don't know, but I mean, I dug that again. You have like this, like this is like the creative side where it's like it's not tied to anything else that exists in the movies or anything. It's like there's a
very
neutral
realistic.
third party that just interprets what's happening in the galaxy, and they don't
rain
pick a
on the
side. And I
rocks.
was like, yeah, like right off the bat, that one actually kind of drew me in. Where I was like, oh my god, some actual thought put into this. Let's watch. Let's do this. Yeah. So
They have a
so I dug
temple
that.
with a bunch of stones on the ground, and the rain comes through, and it leaves prophetic, like that word. It leaves prophetic images on the rocks that they can see the future, and sometimes they're confused by what they see in this future.
Yeah.
Well,
takes
yeah,
us
it's
to
not
our
like they're
plot.
always straightforward. It's just kind of like, oh, it's like ink blots on the rock that they
Ashton's
disappear.
reading tea leaves over here. He's like, well, it's not always 100% science. Like, it's not 100% accurate.
So yeah, this one has a little bit of that lore built around it. This is one of the stronger episodes, but for me, it felt a little bit like they were trying to play some of the hits, like the Jedi with the tortured backstory, struggling with the dark side. Like I think there's more interesting ways to approach it, or we have seen more interesting ways to approach it with like Screecher's Reach and whatnot. But overall, the lightsaber fights in this are pretty cool. Can't
I like
knock
the
this one.
story, the foretold image. What is this third figure in the middle? It's me. I was here all along. Fuck. I shouldn't have gotten involved. Type of deal. Like, oh no, I made the future happen. Like, I love like time travel, future story. Like, so I love any story like that. So that part of it was like such a back burner, small moment, but it was great. There was action. We had a Sith trying to recruit a Jedi to his side. Just another one. We're 5 for 5 if we're stretching it.
I may not have paid the closest attention. I watched all these like on a flight. I remember there's like while they're fighting on the Dark Head or on the statues or whatever, there's like the flashes of blue and red light, and at one point there was like purple flashes, right? Am I right?
Yeah, the purple flashes I think are just
think-
from the combined lightsaber like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if there was like a implied significance of like, a moral grayness between the light and dark.
Well, that's
They were trying to
what
throw
the
in there.
point of it was the Sith was trying to recruit this angry Jedi but the Sith also, I think, killed his master. So it was kind of like I made you angry, but use that anger. Come on over here. Like, not a good tactic, in my opinion, strategically, but he was trying to evoke this emotion. And, this was a very vengeful Jedi, as we've seen before. So I get what you mean about playing the classics, but this one, to me, what season 1 was taking the classics and putting an anime-esque spin on it. This one brought it back to those season 1 roots, in my opinion.
Agree, which I think was needed because in this season they're exploring all these other different animations. So I mean, I agree, it's them playing their hits, but it also works.
This
and
one
again,
worked,
there's enough, backstory and lore squeezed into this, 12, 15-minute episode, like where it's like enough to talk about. It's enough for you to say, what does that mean? Or or wanting more. I will say a funny thing about this one. I know we touched on this last time for season 1, but like the literal translations to English get a little funny, where it's like the master and the Sith are fighting, and she goes, "I shall take you down."
Yeah,
like,
that's anime, though, baby. That's anime.
It is, but
you
it
have to
was,
take
it
it
was
with it.
funny.
I was watching.
I shall kill you.
This means nothing to you guys, but so there's a very popular anime called Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and I've watched it before, but I was watching it recently, and they have like someone who trained them in the art of alchemy, and throughout the whole series, they just call her teacher. They're like, teacher, teacher, and you get used to it. And then it wasn't until the very end I was like, that's just a bad translation. It should be sensei. I was like, oh my god. I was like, how did I not catch that at all?
Do you remember what character is named Bichan in this?
Beachon. No.
Okay. Well, I only.
Isn't it the main character? Isn't it the
I think
kid? Isn't his name like Bishan?
Yeah, I think it may be the Jedi, actually.
Yeah.
Well, this is saying.
Well, I can't tell if he's a Padawan or not, to be honest.
He was a
know if-
Padawan whose master got killed.
I don't know if this
Right,
is correct
that's right.
then, because
Thank
it's
you.
saying the English voice actor for Bichan is Daniel Day Kim, but I feel like that would be he probably would have voiced the Sith, Daniel Day Kim.
And yes, it is the Sith. You are right. Beachon
Okay.
chases them to the planet where they're collecting supplies.
Lord Ozai in the upcoming live action.
Yes.
Have you guys seen?
He's also Dr. Han on Twitter. Is that what-
I was about to ask.
Ashton's not on Twitter like we are, but Dr. Han from The Good Doctor has been making his rounds as a Twitter
As a
meme.
hero.
Oh, okay.
It's so he's going to be the new live action Ozai, and he plays Beach on here. That is so funny. What was really funny to me is I saw all this Dr. Han discourse, and then I saw a tweet that was like, wait, he's only in 4 episodes? Like he's not a main character? I was like, that blew my mind.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever watched The Good Doctor, but it's a pretty wild show.
No, what? Okay, maybe since you're recommending it, I'll check it out. But that's
No,
not
I'm not
something-
recommending it. I'm saying it's pretty,
Isn't
all
that
the
the- isn't that
discourse
the one
is
where-
pretty spot on.
Isn't that the one where like Freddie Highmore is like on the spectrum and he's a
Yes.
physician?
Yeah, I'm a
And
surgeon.
That's his superpower.
Yes. All right. This one's great though. Journey to the Dark Head. Really enjoyed it.
So this for me lands where I want to say, like, I forget what the episode from season 1 is called. It's like, was it the Dark Side Twins or something?
It's just the twins.
The
where
twins.
the twins,
with Neil
where
Patrick
they-
Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just the twins.
This is about where it lands with me. Like they do
I like
all the
the
right
twins.
things, and it's all in all entertaining. But it wasn't my favorite.
Heaven's like they
Yeah,
checked all the
he's still
boxes,
not-
but it still didn't pass, in my opinion.
It wasn't
Evan's
the best.
that
Here are my
horrible-
requirements. but
Evan's
I
that
want
horrible
more.
English
Yeah.
teacher. Yeah, you did everything I told you to, but it's still missing something.
It is.
Actually, yeah. I'm sorry.
And
That
I
was
only
pretty
say that
accurate.
because this next episode is my favorite of the season.
Oh,
the Spy Dance.
okay. I can.
Please remind
Episode
me.
6. This podcast is supported by Lumina. Lumina is an AI-powered webcam that makes you look good on every video call. 4K resolution, adaptive color correction, autofocus and bokeh so you get that nice blur in the background, and of course my favorite feature, the AI cameraman that follows you around the frame to keep you centered at all times. Zhuzh up your video calls and stop looking like dog doo-doo with Lumina. You can use promo code 2dudes for 10% off your purchase at getlumina.com. That's code TWO dudes at getlumina.com. Back to the podcast.
Two dudes watch cartoons. Yeah.
This is the Spy Dancer, and I'm going to be so honest. I'm pretty sure I texted a couple people about this episode, and I kept calling it the Sky Dancer. So that's embarrassing. But episode 6, the Spy Dancer. Now, but Evan, before you get into what you love about it, I'll be honest. When it started, I was like, ugh, another one. What are we doing here?
More
But
pain.
by the time it finished, I was like, oh, that was way more entertaining than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
This was one I liked, actually. I felt nothing first time I watched it because I also didn't give my full attention. Second time, I was like, this was the one that my opinion changed on when I watched it again because I thought, okay, again, like
There's a big
it's hitting my
story
boxes
here.
there's a big story here that you fit into 15 minutes. And, again, even though it's Rebels and Empire, and for some reason they're in Star Wars France, so I'm like, I'm going to let those things go.
Star Wars fans.
I like the international accents though. It was really it threw me off at first, but I did enjoy it. But before we get too
Makes
far
sense.
into
There
it,
was French spies.
it's about the Empire kidnapping and turning a child to their side.
That's
Yes.
again,
Okay.
yeah. It's like you ravaged my village, except this time you took my kid.
You took a
Why'd you
child.
do that?
Let me
What
drop-
a weird
just-
move. Is that a power play? I don't understand.
They're colonizing. They're like taking
there's
the
a
kids and assimilating them.
yeah.
Classic
That's what
colonialism.
they talk about that actually in the sequel trilogy. That's what they do with the First Order stormtroopers. They pretty much they harvest them and they program them. So maybe that was a nod to it. It probably isn't though because it's just them writing and doing their thing. Or it's like yeah, my kid got taken by the Empire. And everyone's like,
Okay. All right.
So
Okay.
it's Star Wars in France, and
yes,
there's
we
these
are in space France.
dancers. They're like
They entertain.
aerial entertainers. That's the thing where they hang on the.
I think they're PG strippers. I'm gonna be honest.
They're not strippers. They're like
They're
aerialists.
PG strippers.
Okay, fine.
What's
But
a PG stripper?
They don't take their clothes off. They're just dancing.
So they're just dancers.
They're burlesque dancers.
You know what I mean? There's more to the dancing than just dancing.
No, yeah, okay.
No, I no, but okay.
But
Anyway.
There's not
They're these
families
dancers.
there. There's not. There's not like. There's not like a group of. There's not a bachelorette party there. Like
They're entertainment
it's-
for the
did you,
troops.
did you even watch the episode? There was family there.
there was not a family there.
there was one.
There was one.
Okay, I'll take back my PG stripper comment. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's about these dancers who put on shows to entertain the troops, the stormtroopers. But the dance troupe is like the secret underground rebel
Spy ring.
group. And so this is what I love about there's a whole story about the kidnapped kid and like she sees her son and all that. But what I love about this episode specifically, it reminds me of Rogue One. It reminds me of Andor. Is I think the best Star Wars stuff actually has something to say about war, and that's
yeah.
why I absolutely love this. It's like this was the most impactful emotional story for me. It's about this woman who lost her son to the Empire, and then she sees him, 20 years later being programmed by the Empire.
Evan, you just said maybe the most profound thing I've heard in so long. Yes. Star Wars is at its best when it isn't like a metaphor for war. That is, they lose that so often too. Mm-hmm. You're so right.
Well, yeah, when you take that deep dive into, again, like this is the name, Star Wars, right? But when you take a deep dive into like what's actually happening, and I think that's one of the things that made, if I could go back and watch Rogue One again for the first time, that's like one of the things I would do again for the first time, man, because I loved it. But I remember it like combined, like it was the first time like Star Wars really took like a dark turn into that stuff where it's like there's like different factions of the rebels, and like one faction is kind of terrorists. So
and
but it's
that's
but they explain
super realistic.
and yeah, it is, and they explain why. And I totally get what Evan's saying. Where in this one, they're literally underground. You've got like these factions of like clearly different people, but they're united for one thing. And I like the part where before they go on, they're going around the circle and they go, "For those we lost," for those we lost. And it's like, are they going to blow up the fucking theater? Like they might. I don't know.
They're
Like,
risking their lives every night, and they do it for the ones they've lost. It's good. It was really good because
I agree.
You just realize the risk that they're in, and she literally, like the meme, she risked it all to see if this was her son. She was like, but I will say that was the most confusing part of the whole thing was when she like went to go kill him and she stopped. And I was like, whoa, what? And then it wasn't until that's when you finally realize, oh, this could be her son.
So wasn't the other girl there like her daughter too? Because she also had the eyes.
Yeah, that was her daughter.
Okay, so they both had the eyes, right?
Younger, it looked like. So it looks like she had her after they did their raid.
Right. One thing I really liked about this one is, after it's all said and done, you've got the kid who's her son who like doesn't understand at all, and he's just like, "What are you talking about? The Empire like just seeks to provide order, and I'm happy to be there. They're winged, they're armed.
Propaganda.
What is he? He's spouting the propaganda, but he's
the
like
talk piece.
He's like, Yeah, but he's like talking about like how he's proud like to be armed wing. He says something
Yes,
like
Yeah.
that.
something like that.
But I really like it. Hit me at the end. Like again, this is the part where like you just take the little time you have and you try to make it, you know, as profound and like hit as much as possible. And it's like he takes his hat off to reveal the horns. Clearly he had the
They're
horns like
clipped
shaved
off.
off.
He had 'em
So yeah, they're
shaved,
marked.
yeah.
And he has his eye patch to hide his 2 colored eyes, and he's holding on to like the emblem thing that his
Mom
or the hollow
Yeah.
thing that his mom gave him. And on the back is like the tracker. I remember watching that like for the second time and being like I smiled a little bit. I was
Because
like,
the mom
okay.
goes,
like
now-
that was well done.
He has a way to find me, and I have a way to find him.
way to find
And I was
him.
like, oh, that's so
Yeah.
good.
All of that
was
in,
good.
in 15 minutes, and
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah,
need to
15
spend
minutes.
five.
It was good.
5 of it giving you backstory painted on a rock.
No, yeah.
True. Yeah.
His when he's spouting off like the propaganda about the Empire, it reminded me of season 3 Zuko in Avatar, although it's not the same.
Yeah. We're taught that the
he's taking
Fire
the pro
Nation-
angle. Yeah. It reminded
Yeah.
me of that. So yeah, that's my favorite episode of this season. Is
Nice.
the spy.
I get
I can
that. That's a
appreciate
good
that.
one.
I would.
Yeah.
It's up there for me. I think it's top.
It made me want to go back and watch Andor, and I've watched a couple here and there.
Yeah.
I think I've watched. Man, I know it's.
I just
it's
found
cartoon,
out
it's
this
real life,
morning
but I've-
Andor's 12 episodes, guys. I thought
Yes.
it was the typical Disney Plus 6 episodes. So I got
There
to
is
episode.
nothing typical Disney Plus about Andor. There is nothing.
well, I
typical
know
Disney
that
Plus
now,
about
but I got to
can't-
episode
I can't
5.
stress that enough.
I finished it, and I was like, oh, I got one more. I'm going to finish in time for the podcast. I got 7 more episodes. I was gagged.
Yeah, you do.
I was like,
You're
what?
man.
So are you in the
You're
middle
not even.
of
you're-
the?
No, he's not. He's not in the eye yet. He's not. That's episode 6. So
I'm not in the eye of the storm. No, I just
episodes-
finished 5.
Episodes 6, 10, and 12 are gonna blow your fucking mind because I know you.
All right. I'm excited. No, I'm in it. I'm in it.
So,
I love
hang
it.
on. Yeah, let's. I do too. I love Andor.
We
so
can-
much.
we
And
can
it was-
finish-
it was-
we're almost
we can-
done here.
Yeah, we'll finish. I know. Let's go back to. And actually, I would love to lead this one if I can because I fucking hate this episode. All right. So, the bandits of Garbage Town, whatever it's called, go.
Golak.
Yeah. So the bandits of Golak. Jesus
Oh,
Christ!
you hated this one?
This one was
Yes.
bad.
This one
wasn't
bad.
great, but
This one was checking all the boxes, and
God.
it still wasn't there.
Okay,
So-
what did you hate about it?
Again. All right. Well, again, we've got a dumbass sibling who's ruining everything for everybody.
I was gonna
on
say
two-
that.
on
We got
two,
that
on
one.
2 different occasions. All right. It's like, okay, the Empire is everywhere.
playing your flute?
Yeah, I shouldn't.
doing?
I shouldn't have to say, don't use the Force in front of everybody, and then you shouldn't have to say it a second time. But
Yeah.
like, let's say it's real life. You know, it's not Star Wars. You're an asshole if you're playing your recorder on the train in front of everybody. Okay, you're not supposed to do that. It's just an asshole thing to do. It's like, do you want to draw attention to yourself?
You have a good
I'm
point.
going to play my recorder. Fuck you, kid.
You're drawing a
Oh
lot of
my
attention to
gosh.
yourself. So what I'll say
Yeah,
is, so this one was not strong. It looked like Clone Wars animation.
It did. It did.
I
Similarly.
literally,
yeah,
I
we probably
noticed
just
it.
pissed
I was
off
like,
a
wow,
bunch
this
of
looks like
fanboys
Clone
for
Wars,
saying
which
that.
is from the 2000s.
Yeah.
So we'll say that. But this one, I did not think it was like, oh my god, amazing. But I think, like Evan said, Star Wars is at its best when it's about war. And to me, this reminded me of like what Jewish people went in the Holocaust, trying to hide from the Nazis. You know what I mean? And people were turning them in left and right if they found out. And so
That's true. 'Cause, like, she's- yeah.
that was the only part of it that was interesting to me. It was a long chase scene more than anything, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't about the political what have you, and it was a big chase scene more than it was anything.
True. I think one of my major gripes about this one is that a fucking Inquisitor shows up, and I'm just like, again, it goes back to my first major gripe about the overall thing, where it's like you have the freedom to do whatever the hell you want, and not only do you choose this timeline, but you choose something that we've all seen before, especially now. Like all the content coming out now is about these Inquisitors, and it's like, all right, here's the Inquisitor here, and he's like, what does he say? He's like, imagine that, a Jedi in Golak. I'm like, isn't that why you're here? Like, but you're surprised for some reason?
No, it's sarcasm. It's
Oh,
like when
God.
a weatherman is like, "Oh, weather this weekend."
But again, it's like, oh look, another Jedi, survived, and that's probably my big gripe with all the recent content that's come out, like the video games, the shows, the everything. It's like at this point we know way more Jedi that have survived Order 66 than ones that actually died in it. Like I was texting my brother, and I'm like, because just for all the listeners out there, my big hot Star Wars take right now is that Jedi Survivor sucks. We don't have to get into that, but it's fine. Yeah,
The new game?
That's my hot take. But
Wow.
anyway,
people are gonna come for you.
and it's
This
just-
is what I love about
they
you,
are.
Ashton. You're
Hang
such
on,
an
yeah.
atypical Star Wars fan. You know
thanks,
everything
man.
about it, and you have
Hates everything about
varying different opinions on things. Some
I have different
mainstream,
opinions
some
on some things.
some the opposite.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. But I mean, it's just this thing of at this point, I remember I was texting my brother, and I was like, "All right, who died in Order 66? Just those 4 assholes we saw on the screen in Revenge of the Sith. Everyone else lived.
All
Fuck
the
you,
children.
All right?
We've done this.
No, not even because one of them became an Inquisitor in that stupid Kenobi show. For Christ's sake, no, one of them lived. One of them gets stabbed and is like, "I survived." Anyway, no,
That is one of my least favorite
Yeah.
TV tropes, though.
I know, it
survived
is.
death somehow.
I survived. Yeah. Well, I mean, they can do whatever the hell they want, right? Because Darth Maul gets.
I
cut in
imagine
half
if
and
you're a
it's like,
Jedi, though,
bring him
you
back.
could easily stop bleeding yourself out. Apply force.
Well, you don't.
But would you have
Anyway.
the mental fortitude
Ashton's like,
in that
"Oh,
moment
fuck."
of crisis?
Oh, I see.
No,
No,
they
you'd
would-
lose mental
You
concentration.
would cauterize it with a lightsaber, obviously.
Yeah, I was gonna say you cauterize it with a lightsaber. You're not actually bleeding when you get stabbed with a lightsaber. We don't have to get into it. It's not important.
Does it
But anyway,
cauterize instantly? Like you slice off someone's arm and they're like, "Oh, I'm fine now."
Well, they're not
Counterintuitive
fine.
weapon. Injures you, but also kind of treats you at the same
So
time.
before we move on with this one,
yeah.
though,
Well,
I liked
yeah.
the ending as well, where it felt like an ending of consequence, much like Screecher's Reach, like goodbye forever. You know what I mean? It wasn't as
Good.
emotional.
Goodbye forever. You won't
Yeah.
be getting me killed anymore.
I hated
get the hell out of here.
The sibling
Ashton
relationship.
was
I hated
like,
it.
"Good riddance."
Good.
I hope
Good
that
riddance.
water never
And-
opens
yeah.
back up.
And you gave me the flute back. Good.
Yeah.
You can't annoy anybody with your flute now, asshole. It was just so silly.
Yeah, it was very silly. I hate when, he's saying, "Don't use the force, whatnot." And what does she do? She's lifting plates of food at the restaurant.
Like, look
and
how funny and
drops it
cute
on
I'm
people
being.
or
No,
whatever.
you're gonna get us killed.
And I think I missed in the beginning where he calls himself like the candy thief or whatever.
The
but
candy bandit.
halfway
Yeah,
through,
yeah.
I'm like, why is he only why are they only fucking eating candy? I've missed that detail.
They're gonna steal all
Yeah,
the
can we
sweets
please-
in Gola.
Yeah, it didn't do a good job of
Sorry.
endearing me to the siblings, and so this is probably
I do hate
my least favorite.
the obsolete, defiant child, like just
Yeah.
doing exactly the opposite. Yeah,
Opposite.
that was annoying. But I did think this one had strong points, so it didn't fall like to the bottom of my list. But no, I agree. This was not one I went back and rewatched. I only rewatched the ones I liked.
I say this is probably second to worst for me.
When I called this my least favorite episode, I did forget that episode 8, The Pit, exists.
Whoa, whoa, what?
Well,
I
okay.
don't know that it takes
If
the
if there's an episode about nothing, it's that one wasn't even like about Star Wars. It wasn't even. It was just because there were stormtroopers there. Other than that, like it could have
was
just been
just-
short.
it was
You
just
see
the
on
Dark
Owls
Knight
with-
War
Rises.
again. This one was not great, but this is not a bad one by any means.
It's not great.
All right, we're
yeah,
transitioning.
it's not the
Let's
worst.
transition episode
to the
8.
next
We're
one.
on-
It's called The Pit.
yeah.
They have a pit where the working class has to dig a giant hole, and they give them no way out.
They're mining kyber
so-
crystals and they leave them there.
And so they have to chant, "We're still in the hole," or some shit.
Hey, did anybody maybe point out
that guy.
hang on, like halfway through getting to the pit, one of these people has to point out, "Hey, did you notice that there's no ladder or any way for us to get out of here? Do you think they're going to leave us here? The Empire?
They're
no, of course
slaves.
they're
They
going to
can't
get out of
say
here.
that. They'll die. All right,
No.
hold on.
They'll die anyway."
They didn't. I'd like to point out they didn't. So you're
One of
wrong.
them did.
You're wrong. So, okay, this one was emotional. They got left there. Granted, it was a comedically large pit. That was my only complaint, is it was like, I was like, huh? I was like, what's going on? Okay. But he climbs it. That was another, I was like, okay, he climbed it. He got up.
Yeah.
But He
With
goes
the help
to the
of
city,
that,
and he's
space
like, these
armadillo.
people
Yeah.
are going to want to help. And at first, it looks like he failed in his mission. They're like, oh my God, those people are assholes. But they did want to help. And the power of the people can overtake the empire. It's, you know what I mean? The empire control is not in the masses. It's an illusion of force.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a social commentary there. I don't think it's done well.
You guys are haters.
Yeah.
I thought I was the hater.
Hang on, this was actually one of the episodes that I watched, and when it didn't do anything for me the second time, that's when I asked. I was like, okay, am I being an asshole? And then I was like, you know what? No, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't. Also, do they imply that the kid is alive at the end?
No, he
Okay,
died.
so because at the end, well, hang on. At the end, that space armadillo comes back from under the dirt. Okay, and it goes to the kid's grave, and it's like an after credit scene. It's why are they showing after credit scene for that?
I did think it was weird they had an after credit scene. I don't think it was hinting at it was live. I think it was to show the mural that they painted of him.
Commemorating
Painting again.
Yeah.
You know what I realized
No,
is if you take painting as a form of art, there's also like dancing, singing. There's a lot of like expressionism in
Yeah.
this season.
So I mean, there's like the social commentary aspect of it, but it's so blunt. It's just like,
What, you want it to be more subtle? What do you mean?
no, I don't know. I think it could have been finessed a little more, or put more
Okay.
eloquently. It's just
I
like,
can't believe I thought
we're
this
in a
was
hole,
Ashton. Then
and they won't hear our cries.
please don't tell me episode 9 is your favorite. What's your favorite?
No, episode 9 is not my favorite at all.
I
I guess
we were
if I'm
building
looking
to
back,
your favorite. It was going to be the pit or this one. What's your favorite? You haven't mentioned it.
for me, honestly, I think it's a tie between Journey to the Dark Head and I do have a newfound appreciation for Screecher's Reach, but I'll say Journey to the Dark Head and Spy Dancer. Probably my
You're
two
a tie? All right.
Yeah, I'll tie it up.
I've been
Spy
taking that
Dancer.
tie as a win, and I think second mention in the tie doesn't count, but whatever.
I just
It's in the
I will say one thing.
conversation.
It's for me. It is safe to say that if I had to pick, I'd pick season 1 over season 2.
Same,
I think that's a
same,
pretty
same,
obvious
same.
one. Anyway, I'm on Team Evan here for the pit. The pit is about nothing, and again, it's not very subtle. We're in the hole, and literally and metaphorically. Ha
Okay,
we
wait.
did it.
Here's one thing that bugged me earlier that you said that I want you to clarify and explain. You said it's not even
Oh, sure.
about Star Wars. What do you mean by that?
It isn't.
What do you mean by that?
Because there was nothing Star. The only thing that was Star Wars about was that there were stormtroopers there. Other
and
than that, it was
kyber
a bunch of people
crystals,
that
they're
were
literally mining kyber crystals.
to put in a fucking clock tower. That's dumb. Kyber crystals are for lightsabers and Death Stars.
You sound
How?
dumb now. They have many uses for power. If you know anything about the Star Wars universe,
It's not canon. It's not canon. It's
Oh.
not canon.
my God.
Did you know that in canon you can bleed a lightsaber and that's why it turns red?
Yeah, it's
Stupid.
cool. That's cool. I
So
like that.
dumb. I hate that. No, you know what? There's just red crystals. How about that?
There's not. There isn't.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Okay.
Yes,
so,
there is. Anyway, sorry.
Gosh. Well,
All right,
then,
I'm sorry.
you're-
So we're
then
on the-
do you
we're
hate
still on
this
the-
last one? If you're a
I
crystal,
don't-
if you're a crystal purist, you should hate everything about this last one because it's all about purifying red crystals that were once a different fucking color.
Then yes.
Wait, Alex,
I'm sorry,
You
I
said
actually-
9 was your least favorite? Let me hear. Like,
Oh, well, wait,
explain.
hold on. So you didn't
I'd love
like
to
it?
hear
Yes.
you
What the
out.
fuck's your problem?
I didn't like it either. So we agree. I'm just angrily
No, it just-
agreeing
it
with
didn't-
you.
It did. It just didn't do anything for me. Honestly, similar to season 1, I had a hard time paying attention on the very last episode, and I'm just like, all right, you know what? If it was good, it'd be drawing me in more, and this time it didn't. I do like the sock puppet animation.
I like
to be
the
honest.
animation
I do.
in this one.
It's so cute.
I
It's
do
so
like the
unique.
animation.
That was the only strong
yeah.
point was the animation here. Once again, your dad tells you not to sing.
That's
You know, your dad tells you not to paint with the last of our water. Just listen.
Footloose, don't
but-
dance. No dance.
Yeah, that, to be fair though, the kid was right. That dancing in town was the correct answer. Footloose, the mayor was
Yeah.
wrong. So I think this one, you guys have probably convinced me that the siblings with the water is probably my least favorite now. But I just thought this was a bad note to end on. I was just like, we were building up.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've had my highs and lows with
Yeah.
the season. It felt like it ended on a low note, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It ended on like a nothing note. Like not for
That's
me. Like
almost
again,
worse.
this one was like inconsequential.
That's
It's
almost
almost
worse.
worse. You're right. But because nothing.
I didn't
happens
feel
in this one.
anything.
I'm just
I
kinda
didn't
like,
feel
I didn't feel
anything from this one.
Yeah, didn't do
This is
anything.
one of my top 3 of this season.
Pitch me.
Really.
And okay, one, the animation style, so adorable, so refreshing, and
Mm-hmm.
this does like the slice of life well. It just puts us into a random corner of the Star Wars universe. Doesn't tell us much about it. Doesn't need to.
Yeah,
The animation,
that's fair.
it's this like kind of stop motiony, like sock puppety puppet,
Yeah.
felt puppet kind of feel. Honestly, reminded me of like Dragon Ball in some of the designs and of the ships
Okay.
too. A little bit of like a kind of Ghibli feel as well to some of the vessels. So like I really felt those influences. And yeah, I don't know. I just really enjoyed the slice of life vibe of this one. I think it suffers from its placement in the overall
That could be
episode
true.
order. I
That
think if
could
you
be
put it
true. I
towards the
maybe need to
beginning-
rewatch it. I'm willing
Yeah.
to. Because I liked the animation. I don't hate, how do I put this? I don't hate people having like these different connections to the Force. The singing with the crystals, the
I don't hate that either.
painting to connect. I don't hate that, but it just also, I almost wish it was, I don't even know. Like, I don't want to say I wish I got more of it. You know what I mean? But like, I wish, I feel like it's almost too ambiguous. Like it was left up to such interpretation that maybe this kid just got super singing powers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it's like a different connection to the Force. And I don't know. I guess this one, I just like also, I hate when like communication is the issue. Like the kid's like, no, I can sing and heal the crystals. But the dad's like, no, you're not going to do that. Like,
You'll collapse the mind.
you're going to collapse the whole mind. Yeah, I guess I don't know. Like that's just not my
this kid's
favorite
not
trope.
listening.
Yeah, it's just the kid not listening again. But this
the
time the
kid
kid
not
was at
listening
least
again.
right. So that's a
And then
point
she
in
gets
the correct
recruited
category.
as an apprentice to like she gets to
More
leave
recruiting.
Town. She gets to go on her big adventure with
That's
the
true.
Jedi.
That's
And
true.
leave her little small
That is
town.
cool,
And like
yeah.
It's the theme of
relationship
recruiting,
between
the Empire
Awu-
recruiting, and the
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Awu and her dad is so cute. I don't know. I really like
It
it. I
is.
think here's
I
my
agree with
pitch.
that.
I think start season 2 with this one instead of end.
oh
I would love. It's like
I
it
hated
eases
how
you
it
into
started.
yeah,
yeah,
eases
okay.
you into it.
I'm
It's a
gonna
fun little
give it a
romp.
rewatch just for you, Evan. I think you've convinced me that it's better than I'm remembering, and I'm also 1,000% ready to admit that 3 was the worst episode. So I feel good in that.
Yeah.
In that,
I'm willing to give Ao's song another watch, but so much of it is just again, it's inconsequential. I'll give Screecher's Reach another watch. Honestly, you kind of flipped me on that one, to be honest.
Good.
The rest, though, again, it's just the stakes are lower because there's just so much Star Wars content that you're just kind of like, yeah, of course there's going to be a Star Wars Visions 2, and I'm just kind of like, yeah, oh, okay.
So
whereas, yeah, that's about it.
after the season ended, for me, it's always like, do I want more? And I'm like tepid right now. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm
kind of. I want more.
I
I think season 3, depending on the direction it goes, could like define this being like amazing or just like, oh, okay, I see what we're doing here.
You know what I bet they would do? Actually no. I would not put money on them doing.
Put
this,
money
but
on
I
it.
think
What do you
would-
got?
No, I think it would be cool if they just like took the favorites from seasons 1 and 2, and season 3 was just a one episode each continuation of each of those, and then close the book off.
I remember
for a time.
rumors that season 2 was going to have some continuations, and
I did. I heard that too. Like apparently, like Ninth
don't
Jedi
hate
was
that
so
at all.
popular from season 1, and they said, oh, they gave that
Maybe
studio
that will
season
be
2, which
season 3.
maybe they
thing.
did, and it got pulled. I don't know. Yeah.
Hmm.
I could see them doing something like that, and I would be mildly intrigued to
I'm
see
not
one or two
saying
of those things.
cancel the series, but I may not watch on opening night when it drops next time.
Well, I think something
Not that I
about
did
these, and
this
again,
time.
because it's not right. Because it's just kind of like a bunch of short stories, it's a collection. It's not like a deal maker or a deal breaker for anybody.
true.
It's not. I don't think you think about everyone's Star Wars content and all the different Star Wars content out there. And this isn't me hating on Visions, but it's just nobody's going to be like, oh, Star Wars Visions is my favorite.
This is like
no,
the
it
cherry
isn't.
on
You know
top.
that it isn't.
I get what you
it's
mean.
just kind of it's like your fun little thing, and you also you do get to open up Star Wars to like these other people who maybe never got a chance to tell a story in that universe, which I want to piggyback off of Evan's point. He said Star Wars is at its best when it's exploring like the horrors of war. For me, and I like that. Star Wars is at its best when you've got people telling stories within the Star Wars universe instead of just copying what's already happened in Star Wars. So that's what I like. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what I didn't like about 7. It just felt like hitting some of the same
rehashing.
beats we've already seen. I guess we can kind of go into our closing thoughts about the season.
Yeah.
Final plug for season episode 9 of the season is like I wanted to see more of it. I would love to live in this, inhabit this world a little more, or inhabit this world. But I think what I texted Alex about this season is like I think we've hit, at this point, it's diminishing returns on the anthology format. Like we've seen the highs, and unless it's one of those, it really, some of these studios are struggling to do anything inventive or new. And maybe it's because it's dictated in the theme to them, or maybe it's because there's just no oversight. Which one, I don't know. There is a season 3 in the works that's been announced. I'll watch more of it.
We'll be watching. We'll be watching. We will.
We'll
'Cause
be
I'm
watching.
curious.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
We'll be back.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes. My closing thoughts, real simple. I thought season 1 was way better than season 2. Season 2 does have some high moments, and I think actually rehashing a lot of it with you guys has made me appreciate it way more than I did before, honestly.
Similar closing thoughts to everybody. There is nothing. There were definitely some gems here. I think overall I preferred season 1. There is nothing about it is really a game changer for me, but one thing I will say that I really appreciated about this season was opening it up to all these other different animation studios and watching them kind of inject their culture into Star Wars. I can definitely appreciate that and appreciate being able to talk about it and kind of change up some of my opinions and reinforce my other opinions on the ones that I know are trash. So,
Hell yeah. Before we get going, Evan required me as part of this podcast to watch Andor. So we do want to talk a little bit of Andor. I appreciate just a little high overview, because I actually don't want to be spoiled. I was ready to come in here and being like we could talk about it and hold no bars, but I don't want to be spoiled anymore. I'm very invested.
I had him watch at least the first 3, and I know the beginning.
Okay, well, yeah, because that's how it got released. They released the first 3 episodes at once. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
And it's a little bit of a slow burn, but Alex, I would love to hear your initial impressions. You're halfway through the season.
I was hooked probably midway through episode 2 solely because of its uniqueness. Somehow the stakes are so low and so real. The two cops killing, trying to shake him down, and then him killing them. Yeah. And then what's really funny to me is this only has been escalated because of workplace bureaucracy and feeling inadequate. That's brilliant to me. The scenes we get of the guy who I thought was Ramsay Bolton, who's not. I really thought it was him for a while.
There's so many Game of Thrones characters in this though. There's a lot.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my God, another one. So him going against his boss's wishes and doing a full-fledged invasion.
Great.
I was like, oh, I'm in this because he's gonna get in trouble, and he just did get in trouble with the bosses. So I'm loving, and we're seeing it get higher and higher in the ranks of people talking about it. It's brilliant to me, just based solely on. And Evan said there's not a monk or a lightsaber in sight, and I don't want to be that guy who's like, Star Wars is just all people having lightsaber battles now, because I for one really love lightsaber battles, but
of course
it is so refreshing. It is really good. If for some reason you haven't watched Andor like me, and it gets to a point where when everyone's like, you have to watch this, it's like, I will eventually, chill, and then you just push it off so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so this was the push that I needed to because I'm fully invested. I fell asleep to it last night. That's how you know it's real.
Yeah.
And then I went back.
So
I didn't sleep through any of it. I went back.
So there's 4 Star Wars series out there right now. This one is hands down.
What are they?
Texting Evan this. I said, well, so you got this, Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and then Obi-Wan. Okay, so I was counting the short.
No. Yeah. I knew you meant live action.
Live action. Andor, I was texting Evan about this when it first came out because I remember sitting down to watch it, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, and again, huge fan of Andor over here. I can't say enough good things about it. I remember sitting down to watch it to think of these 4 series, this is probably the one that nobody asked for out of all 4 of these. Who the hell gives a shit about a backstory on Cassian Andor? And I'm like, I already have like a bad taste in my mouth from the rest of the series. I think this thing is going to be dumbed down. I think it's going to be very simple, and I think it's going to be nothing but just a bunch of callbacks to the Clone Wars and all that stuff. And I remember
no callback. Well, it's very little.
Nothing. It's what I referred to earlier when it's just somebody telling a story within the Star Wars universe, and that's what Andor is. I remember kind of being sucked in a little. This is going to sound so silly, but just like the intro, and when the music came up, I was like, "Holy shit, this is different." But like, whatever. I was still like, I was being a total dick. I was being a snob, and I'm just like whatever. And I remember they released the first 3 episodes at once, and I got to the 3rd one. The next day, I instantly started watching the first one again, and partway through, I was like, holy shit, do I like this? I was like, I like this. And I'm like, it's Star Wars for adults. I'm like, this is so cool. It really is. And I think there's just a lot of things about it that I just
needs to follow its audience. I know it's always trying to capture the younger generation again, because that is what it does well. But Andor is something that finally followed the audience is like interest. Yeah. Like this is like Breaking Bad Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like it's really good.
Totally.
And it's like a crime drama. That's what I love about it. Is while it does have the rebels versus the Empire feel to it, it's not that
there's
simple.
So much more.
It's
to
not
it than
that. Yeah, it's really good. And
like,
it's not like the Empire just doing evil things to be evil. It's this guy who's on this hang up. Like, it's I love it. I really enjoy it.
It technically doesn't even start with the Empire. It starts with like an Empire occupied company that is like squeezing this planet, and I'm like,
way up the ranks. That's what's so funny to me is now the big bosses are talking about this incident because this one guy couldn't leave it alone.
Thought like that's I love it because it's one of the things that like I said this last time you guys invited me on the pod for the first time. It's like one of the things I loved about Rogue One so much, and it was Gareth Edwards saying you have to bring something new to the table while respecting Star Wars, and that's what Andor does. It definitely brings something new to the table. Well, also
Tony Gilroy.
It's not the same. Tony Gilroy is part of it. He's the director, and he wrote Rogue One. It is also, and I love this fact, it's the same production team as Rogue One, which is why the quality of it and the background and the props and the aliens, it's just, that's one thing I also loved about it. Like, that also sold me.
A lot of it to me, and this is what I'm appreciating more and more with fantasy cinema, is it doesn't look like a green screen. None of it does.
Yes.
It looks all
so much of it is
effects.
Yeah, it's on set.
I love that. I mean, obviously some things need to be a green screen, like the window, and that's fine, and it looks good. It's not bad. But like, I never once, and it's a problem with a lot of Disney properties. Is the problem is you're watching and you're like, this is just that huge green screen room that I've seen a million times.
Yeah. I think it's.
I'm gonna.
Go ahead.
Can I give one last plug, Evan? I'll just give one last plug for it, and it's that. So, and I'm not spoiling anything here. So, Luthen, Alexander Skarsgård's character.
Love all the Skarsgårds.
He's who's just incredible. And wait, I got it right. That was Alexander Skarsgård, or was it? It was
it's
him.
The dad. Sorry. I don't know if it's the dad might be
Peter. It's not the one on Succession right now.
It's not the Alexander Skarsgård's on Succession. So I think it's Peter Skarsgård.
This is Peter Skarsgård. Okay. Anyway,
Papa Skarsgård.
Papa Skarsgård. Okay, so Mr. Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård. Thank you. It is. It's Stellan. I knew that. So anyway, Stellan Skarsgård's character, Luthen Rael, is, he's posing as this antique stealer.
That was the best when he did the switch character-wise.
Yes, that whole scene
acting.
was... Again, you haven't seen good acting yet with this show, dude. It only gets better. I love it. Anyway, so in his antique shop, there's all these little things, like these props that are callbacks to the sequels, the originals, the prequels, some old like expanded universe stuff. And Tony Gilroy is being interviewed by it, and they go, "What were you like? Did you just like pick and choose your favorite things to put in there?" And he said something to the extent of, "Oh, honestly, the prop people snuck some of that stuff in there. I don't really know what any of it means, but I think that's pretty cool." I love that.
The prop people were like, "This is gonna be great."
Yeah. But like, that's like, to him, like, he respects it, but it's not him saying this thing from episode 1 needs to be in here to satisfy
he's
the
respectful
to
what Star Wars is, but he's not he's not doing callbacks for callbacks.
Correct. There is no fan service here.
That's a great term.
Love that.
Yes, that's a great
term.
There
is no fan service here, and it doesn't need it.
Really does not talk down to its audience. It lets you imply context clues and things. Like it's really strong in that regard.
Yeah.
It's what I loved about Spy Dancer. It actually, similar to Rogue One, has something to say about war and its consequences. Even the like the political stuff with Mon Mothma is like really gripping and it's really captivating.
Really good.
It's like a
really is.
criminal
You feel
political thriller. It's
Yeah.
great. It's really
political
good.
thriller.
It's
And
not an action.
I think
There is action, but it is not an
There's
action
action.
show.
Correct. It is not an action show, and I'll say something else here because Brizard, you haven't gotten to this yet. But so we know what happens to Cassian Andor because we've seen Rogue One. The storytelling in this still kept me on the edge of my seat. Like I know what happens to this guy at the end of whatever season 2 is going to be, which I can't wait for. Like I know what happens to this guy, but I am literally sitting on the edge of my couch, like
So
doing
invested.
this, like holy shit, what's about to happen next? Because that's just really good writing. Like I remember, you know how like they kind of imply that like Cassian is like a bit of a, I don't want to say like a thug, but he's kind of like he's not big time at all. He's like some guy
he's a
who
petty
fought the
criminal.
Empire as a he's a petty criminal. He was a cook for 6 months and then bailed and like would spit in their food and like steal their money and stuff like that. And he's got his gun in Stellan Skarsgård's face. And the scene where Stellan looks at him and goes, "Don't you want to fight these bastards for real?" And I was like, "Oh my god, yes I do,
Yes, I do.
yeah.
I do. I very
Yes,
much
I
do. Yeah, it's really
I love
compelling,
that.
really gripping. If you haven't watched it, you should definitely go watch it. But
Yeah, and I think
so. Oh, go ahead.
So it's there's nary a magic monk or a laser sword in sight, and like to contrast with the other series that was airing around that time, The Mandalorian, season 3, which is fucking atrocious. It's like they've just gotten more and more into like jerking them, like Dave Filoni jerking himself off to like Clone Wars shit.
Thank you.
I don't give a shit
Yep.
about the like what Sabine, is that her name? And the Darksaber.
Who the fuck cares? It's
I
Bo-Katan,
haven't
but
seen
who
it.
cares?
Bo-Katan. Yeah, okay, yeah, Bo-Katan.
I'm not going to. So keep
You don't
talking.
need to.
Well,
they've
I
just-
heard that
So-
if I didn't see Boba Fett, I was going to be really confused going
No, it's
into
just that
Mandalorian.
they're back
I'm
together.
glad you didn't see Boba Fett.
I didn't
Yeah.
see either of them.
They're all back together.
I'm worried.
Seasons 1 and 2 are completely inconsequential.
I'm
now.
very, very worried that I will get Star Wars burnout if I do too much to myself.
Which is real.
And I want to be excited for the new movies they have in the pipeline because I think some
I
of it.
think
I'm excited.
Is Dave Filoni supposed to be getting his own movie of the
So,
Filoni
yeah.
universe?
We've got three movies announced. One of them is apparently Dave Filoni, who gets to tie together Ahsoka, Boba Fett, Mandalorian, and all it's getting tied into a movie. I could give two flying fucks. about
Yeah, I was
that
gonna say I
fucking
don't
movie.
actually. I didn't know
care.
that was a thing. I don't care about that.
There's two other ones, and one of them you guys are going to flip. Well, hopefully both of them. But the first one is going to be about the very first Jedi, the Dawn of the Jedi area, which is one of my favorite graphic
I love
novels I have
that.
sitting right over here on the shelf. And it's directed by James Mangold, who did Logan.
Oh,
That's going to be. That's going to.
I love Logan.
I watched Logan the other day, and I'm sitting here thinking, this guy's going to watch is going to make a Star Wars. Let's go. Let's go. The next one is going to be about Rey's Jedi Order and her rebuilding the Jedi Order, and I love that.
Oh, I am interested in that
I
too.
can't-
Actually,
Very interested in that, yeah. And I think
I
so
like
there's
Rey.
a lot, a lot
I
of
feel like
cool
a lot of
things with
people
that.
don't like Rey. I like Rey. She's a flawed hero.
We could. You guys know me, and you know I could spend hours
Let's
on this.
relitigate
All-
this
Don't even
right
all
now.
that, no. This sequel hate is all. It's all cyclical, and I think one of the things I like about whatever this new Jedi Order thing with Rey is going to be is you're already starting to see people going, you know what? I'm excited for this. I love they're bringing Daisy Ridley back to the Star Wars universe, and you're starting to see more and more people kind of churn out their comments about that because you know what? It's about to pretty soon. Like I say, pretty soon. Pretty soon could mean tomorrow, a few months, a couple years from now. It's gonna be not cool to talk shit about the sequels anymore because it's a cycle.
Yeah.
It is. That's it. Because people are
People
saying
don't
I
talk
love
shit about the
sequels. People are-
prequels as much anymore.
Last
do
Jedi.
not
they?
anymore. They say
one.
they say to this about the sequels now what people used to say about the prequels. And that's why I try not to
interesting.
talk. I try not to talk as much shit about the prequels now because I understand now that it's cyclical, and I'm like, if people were talking shit about the Star Wars that I grew up with, yeah, I'm gonna get all defensive, and now it's my turn, and the prequels are cool, so I get to talk shit about your sequels.
Okay,
and
okay.
that's gonna
the
end.
circle of
It just
gripes.
is.
It's
It
the
is.
circle
It
of
is.
Star
It's the
Wars
circle.
gripes. Okay.
I think I called this out last time. That there was a meme going around when it says Lord of the Rings fans discussing their movies, and it's 4 people cheersing at a bar, and then the next one is a bar brawl, and it says Star Wars fans discussing their movies.
But that does create
And-
the discourse creates more fans. So it creates
It does,
conversation.
it does.
I'm along for the ride. But so yeah, why I haven't really tuned into some of these Star Wars TV shows is like I said, I want to be ready when the movies come out, and I want to be excited. I don't want to be. I've seen so much of this already.
Yeah, which honestly was one of the things. This is actually, when you say that I have a lot of comments about Star Wars that are kind of against the mainstream, it's because I think one of the things that made Star Wars special was that it was always, at one point was the one that had the least content out of all the trilogies and sci-fi and fantasy stuff out there. There was a time when
TV shows and movies.
Yeah, they got everything, and so you got a time where they don't have a lot of that stuff. So like, I would go back to, if I could go back and watch Force Awakens again for the first time, I would love to relive that moment because man, the stakes were so high. And now it's like, because there's Star Wars content everywhere. And going back to the point of, I think it's interesting how, to Evan's point, The Mandalorian season 3, people are. I sat back and laughed because I'm like, oh look, people are saying what I've been saying for the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, you hated the first season, and I was surprised by that.
Funny? You know what's funny is I appreciated more seasons 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian after watching Boba Fett and Obi-Wan because not only were those trash, but I at least respected the fact the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian were at least kind of trying to do their own thing, and then they start getting to the callbacks of Clone
Disney
Wars
Plus
and it's just dumbed down.
Has a bad
Dave Filoni,
formula, in my opinion,
where people just think that I don't know why they just Dave Filoni is like Star Wars Jesus and he isn't. Okay, he literally just copies what George Lucas had. He can't write his own characters.
That's why people like him, though, is they think George Lucas is the Messiah. So he's Jesus.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, I see.
Exactly. And Dave Filoni doesn't challenge anybody to any extent. Okay, it's like, oh, look, Ahsoka, there's more evil Jedi that survived Order 66. Here you go.
I was pretty tapped out. I was tapped out on Mando season 3. Like 1 and 2, I enjoyed 1 a lot. 2 started to deteriorate, but it was doing like this vibey Western thing. Yeah. And then 3, it's like...
The space Western thing was working.
The space Western thing was working, but then they abandoned it all for Dave Filoni, circle jerk. Yeah. And like the moment I tapped out is like when they start having Baby Yoda do backflips and they just fucking tossing the puppet around. Yeah. Like it's not.
That's not just special. A meme. That's a real. That's a real scene.
Thing.
Yeah.
They just fucking toss
a couple times.
That's not a meme. It happens a couple times that I've seen. That's a real thing.
It's a real thing. It's just the puppet will pop up and be like, whoo.
I thought people were just tossing it. And I thought it was... I thought it was Mando tossing baby...
No, it's him doing like force backflips or something. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
Hey, can we talk Guardians of the Galaxy next time?
No, sorry.
Do you want to do back-to-back records?
Yeah, that's what we're doing literally after we hang up.
I know, right? I'm a little... Oh, you are really?
Yeah.
Oh, who are you talking about, Guardians?
Just us.
Just us.
We do double headers so we can push it out.
But anyway, you know what's funny is I thought, and I think Evan might agree, and because there's definitely some entire episodes of The Mandalorian like dedicated to literally nothing, but they're really trying. They're really trying to do like the Andor world building thing, where I'm like, all right, that TikTok voice where it's like, this is a work of art. Yeah. This is bullshit. Okay, and I'm sorry, but like a scene in Andor where people are walking through a town is one thing. A scene where the stupid fucking scientist from season 2 is walking around with that girl eating space popsicles is bullshit. Okay,
People tried to say nothing. It was like Andor, and I was like, "Are you?"
I saw that.
Me?
I got so upset,
and
I'm like,
"Terrible TV."
Because you can look at it and just say, "Hey, let's have them do this. What should they have? How about these glowing sticks? You son of a bitch! I'm in. Let's do it." And there's no thought, and it's so obvious that there's no thought put into these things. That's also why I'll start going on a rant, you guys. It's just
I think we understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's just very obvious when someone is just cranking out Star Wars content and saying, look, it's Star Wars, enjoy. And
I get what you mean. Disney's notorious for that, so I totally get that.
Of course.
Anyway. I think I've exhausted myself here, though. The Force is not with me anymore. I could rant about Star Wars for a long time.
Yeah. Are we leaving the Andor stuff? Are we leaving the Andor stuff in the pod or no? I don't think we will, right?
Yeah. No,
we spent like 30 minutes talking about it.
Well, people listen to these things. I know it's crazy.
That's good. Yeah, I'm glad. I love that you guys have me back. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you I was about to say, thank you for coming. Thank you for schooling us in the ways of the Jedi and the Sith. Everything we need to know. And everything in between as well. And I'm trying to think. I that's all I got. Evan, you have anything else?
My final thoughts on StarArs Vision Season 2.
Sure.
There are worse shows out there. They're also better.
That was good.
That was good. I can't top that. That was a good one.
Good callback there.
That was a good one.
See, that's not just a reference for a reference sake, people. That's good writing. Okay. I'm going to sign us off. Ashton, thank you again for coming here. We appreciate
Thanks
it.
For having me, guys.
Again, it's a lot of fun when we could do this. So if
I had a blast.
Yeah, good. If you are loving this podcast and looking for more, you can check out our other episodes on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Please follow us at 2 Dudes Watch Cartoons on Instagram and TikTok. And we are 2 Dudes Watch on Twitter. And if you enjoyed this, wherever you're listening, Spotify, YouTube, leave a like, review, 5 stars, or don't do it at all. But yeah, thank you for joining us again, and we will see you soon.
That'll do it for this episode of Two Dudes Watch Cartoons. We'll catch you next time.
Two dudes watch cartoons.